Oh, good morning, everyone. Jeff Exline in the Digital Content Center on the first day of July. We're going to take a look ahead at July. We'll take a look back first at June. And I know July, it's a new month. The weather doesn't feel any different. It's the same wet weather. And I hear the moans, the groans out there of everyone saying it's too wet. Hang in there after today. It gets better. The rest of the week is looking a lot better. We get the rain out of here early in the week, and then we can enjoy some nice weather later this week, just in time for the holiday weekend coming up here, 4th of July, this upcoming Friday. So on this Tuesday, we'll take a look back here at June 1st before we look ahead at July. Also tracking some heavy rain moving through the area here into the early and mid-afternoon hours of today. This should come as to no surprise. June 2025 finished warmer than average, and it finished above normal when it comes to rainfall. So it was the 16th wettest June on record, and it was the 8th warmest June on record. Last year, 2024, was the 7th warmest June on record as we continue to compile warm months and warm months here of late. So let's see. Carol already chiming in. Already got comments. The weather's active. The comments keep flowing like the rain. Torrential rain by Wellsburg. A little bit ago, turned dryer on to take on the moisture out of the air in the house. So yeah, they got some rain. We'll be tracking that rain here for you in just a second. But first, I want to take a look back again at June. Now look ahead at July. July, climatologically speaking, is the warmest month of the year, although who talks climatologically, except for climatologists or meteorologists, right? Typically it's our warmest month of the year. July's warmest temperature ever recorded, 103 back in 1988, a scorching summer, by the way. 42, the coldest temperature recorded July 1963. Full moon on July the 10th, the full buck moon on July the 10th, and 83, the average high for the beginning of the month and the end of the month. Average precipitation, 4.26 inches. And we lose rain. We lose we lose daylight throughout the month of July. You see that sunset going from 8:55 at the beginning of the month to 8:37 at the end of the month. We don't like to talk about that too much, though. That's why I'm whispering. Okay, let's see. Debbie saying we also have torrential rain near Robinson. And Debbie, you are under a flash flood warning in the Robinson, Allegheny County area. We'll get to that in a second. Rain chances high today and then drop off. So that's why I'm saying get through today and then it gets better the rest of the week. Okay. More importantly, those rain chances in the near term looking very high, and then the rain threat will drop off. So a little different setup than yesterday, where the rain came in more so in the afternoon, lingered into the evening. This time it's coming in earlier in the day and then pushing out a little bit earlier in the day as well, that rain threat lowering. So if you have something after work, maybe doing some grilling later on today, I do anticipate it to be drier by then. Rain is falling in Wheeling right now, 73 degrees. It is very moist out there. The dew point is 72. So lots of humidity, lots of moisture. The humidity will lower a bit in the days ahead, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Now, it's not going to get like, in the refreshing, pleasant category, but it will lower compared to where it's at now. And it is summertime. It will stay humid, but it will get more humid again over the upcoming weekend, hot and humid. But today, probably not the best day to cut the grass because of the rain that is out there. As we head over the next several days, you will be able to cut your grass. Now, the flooding outlook for today, you see that area in yellow, basically following US 22 and points south. That is where there is a slight risk of flooding, of flash flooding. So that's basically following this area right here, the yellow area. The green is a marginal risk, so a lower risk in these areas, the northern half of our viewing area. The yellow, a slight risk of heavy rain that can cause flooding. There's even a higher risk here, a moderate risk, notice, from Hagerstown to Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Philadelphia, Lancaster, these areas here into Virginia and Maryland and eastern Pennsylvania have even a higher risk of flash flooding. But this is something we'll have to watch out for locally. A flash flood warning. Let's see. Debbie said there was torrential rain in the Robinson area, and you can see they are under a flash flood warning until 1:45. This is radar indicated, and this is coming out of the Pittsburgh office. They said that the rainfall rates were close to 2 inches an hour dropping back quick inch in 30 minutes over the urban areas. And that's why they issued the flood warning, radar indicated flash flood warning, for Allegheny County. Let's see. Drew says, good morning, Jeff. My old hometown's getting hammered today. Just hope they don't get flooded out. Okay, so let's take a look here again at the radar. You can see where the heavy rain is occurring at the current time. And what I could do, we could show you the 1 hour rainfall here. And you can see this is the last hour rain estimates over the last hour. You can definitely see where it's been raining pretty hard. And it's basically from a Woodsfield to Wheeling line up to basically going up towards I-70 from Wheeling to Washington, PA, up into the Pittsburgh area. This is where the heaviest rain has been falling over the last hour. And there are some places between a half inch to an inch of rain where you see that yellow over the last hour. So that's where, up here in the Steubenville to East Liverpool, Caddis area hasn't rained a whole lot over the last hour. But that's the reason why there's that flash flood warning in effect for Allegheny County. I'll remove that banner there for you so you can get a better look at the radar and see what's going on. Let's focus on some of these areas that are seeing the heavy rain. New Martinsville, seeing heavy rain at the current time. Up towards Clarington, the Hannibal area, very, very heavy rain in these areas towards Paden City. This is moving towards the east, northeast, St. Joseph, about to see some heavy rain. And this is in the southern Marshall County. This is Monroe County. And now you're looking into Belmont County, southern part of Belmont County, Alledonia. And then you get into the Ohio County area. The rain not too heavy at the current time in the Wheeling area towards St. Clairsville. It is a moderate rain. It's not coming down in buckets, though. But it is raining, and it is raining across a good chunk of the area. Lighter to the north for the most part, a little heavier here. Also some lightning strikes in some of these areas. You're hearing thunder in Belmont County into Monroe County, probably Marshall County as well, and probably hearing some thunder in Noble County out of the storm coming out of Parkersburg, West Virginia. So that's a look at how the radar is looking at the current time. Put a loop here for you. Again, not really too concerned about severe weather today per se. We are more concerned about heavy rain that can lead to flooding, though. And there's a 1 hour loop of the radar showing you the same areas basically from this line here. I could put a line here for you. I think this is the area that's it's going to be of concern. This area here, because you see how that rain keeps on trucking over those same places. The heavy rain. I think to the north of that circled area that I have there, the rain's not going to be quite as heavy. I mean, it will be raining and it can be some heavy at times, but the heaviest rain I have a feeling is going to be falling in that circled area here as we head into the afternoon hours. And as I mentioned, I see Drew was asking, 1 o'clock looks wet in our area. As we head towards late afternoon, that's when the rain will start to subside a little bit. But into early afternoon, now as we are approaching midday, and early afternoon to mid-afternoon is when the heaviest rain will be falling. Later this afternoon is when that rain will be dropping off. So there's a look at the bigger picture of the radar. We also have some flood warnings, flash flood warnings, also observed flash flooding occurring south of Columbus at the current time. So one in Allegheny County, another one to the south of Columbus where they're actually seeing flash flooding at the current time. And all the radars lit up here, indicating all that rain that's across the region. I really think we're going to struggle to get to 80 degrees today. I think most of the time we're just in the 70s with the rain. Here's a look at Futurecast for those of you asking about timing, etc. Ninny says, are creeks rising? It depends on where you're situated at. But yes, they will be rising today, especially in those areas that I circled there, indicating that heavier rain threat. No reports of flooding locally as of now, but that's something to be watching into the early afternoon hours as we continue to see the rain. So here's a look at Futurecast. Again, heavy rain threat midday through early afternoon. And it's that area, again, that I circled. I've been talking about this area right about there, okay, is where that heavier rain threat is. To the north of that line, I'm not too concerned about, your streams and creeks could rise, but I'm not too concerned about flooding north of that. It's more this area here that we're concerned about when it comes to the potential for flooding today. Okay, so there's 1 o'clock, and then there's 2 o'clock this afternoon. Still some heavier rain south, lighter rain north. And then there's 3 o'clock into the mid-afternoon hours. Notice, though, as we head towards 4 or 5 o'clock this afternoon, how we start to see improvements, and it won't be quite as wet by that point. And in fact, as we head into the evening hours, things should begin to quiet down. So a wet day today with showers and thunderstorms. High temperatures probably won't even get to 80 degrees today. Now, here's the good news. I mentioned, hang in there, my friends. I know a lot of moaning and groaning of late with the weather and the rain, but after today, the rest of the week is looking a lot drier. So we get our rain in early in the week, and then later in the week it's looking better. There will be some fog later tonight into early tomorrow morning with a clearing sky. So fog and low clouds to start the day Wednesday. Could have a sort of a gloomy look, I think, to the sky on Wednesday morning. But then as we head into Wednesday afternoon, a mix of sun and clouds, high temperature up to 85 tomorrow. Mostly sunny sky Thursday. There will be a weaker front sliding into the area during the afternoon and may spawn a stray shower. I think they'll be few and far between. Nothing too heavy, though. High of 85. Looking great for the 4th of July on Friday, mostly sunny, a morning low of 62, but the high temperature in the afternoon jumps up to 87 Sidney Crosby degrees. As we head into Saturday, it gets a little warmer and more humid. Highs near 90 over the weekend, low 90s expected for highs on Sunday. There can be some scattered thunderstorms again returning early next week, with high temperatures in the upper 80s early in the week, slipping into the mid 80s in the second half of the week. So today, definitely the wettest for the rest of the week. After today, it does get better. There's your silver lining. And Andrew is saying it's raining in Cambridge, Ohio. So yes, again, for those of you just tuning in, it is raining across a lot of the area right now. Oh, I don't want to show the, what am I getting at here? So let's get back to the radar. It is raining in Cambridge, as Andrew's saying, and it's raining across a lot of the area. We are concerned for the possibility of high water issues today. Here's your flood threat. Where's the flood threat graphic? Got to find it here. Bear with me. It's here somewhere. Here it is. Okay, so there's our excessive rainfall outlook basically for today. The areas south of US 22 basically have a higher risk than areas to the north locally. And there's even a higher risk of flash flooding as you head towards our nation's capital, Baltimore, Hagerstown. Those areas have a higher risk of seeing some flooding today. But even locally, we'll have to be on the lookout for, rising streams and creeks as the rain comes down. There is a flash flood warning occurring for Allegheny County here until 1:45. That's the only in at least our tri-state area right here, at least locally. There is also another flash flood warning with observed flooding south of Columbus at the current time. But locally, we're looking at Allegheny County under that flash flood warning. Also, looks like a new flash flood warning as well to the east of the Pittsburgh area. So I'm a little concerned for, the areas here where we're seeing the heavy rain set up. And it's basically this area here. And then up here even, basically this area and points that way is where there's going to be a higher flood risk than all that to the north. If you're north of this line here, you're in better shape than you are to the south and east of that line, if that makes sense. Let me remove all my my drawings so you can get an idea and get a look at the radar there. And I can turn off. Here's an hour loop to give you an indication where this rain's headed. And again, it's moving off towards the east northeast. So rain, some of it's light, some of it's heavy. Heaviest rain at the current time is falling across Monroe County into also New Martinsville, seeing heavy rain at the current time. Let's see, we can take a look here at some of the cameras, pull up the New Martinsville camera here and show you some of the wet conditions. May have to move this around a little bit, but there you can see how heavy that rain is in New Martinsville right now. So it is coming down in buckets. Okay. Drew, you're asking questions. Let's see. How much rain should we expect from this today and what time it will clear out? Again, I think I talked about that when it clears out later this afternoon. Rainfall in thunderstorms and rain like this is very dependent on location. So, without knowing the location, but, some places will pick up over an inch and some places will pick up, less than a half an inch today. It depends, really depends. Those areas that I circled, Drew, if you're paying attention, that's where I expect the heaviest rain to be falling. And that's generally right around Wheeling, more so to the south. New Martinsville, one of those areas where you're seeing the heavy rain at the current time. And that's a look at Route 2 along New Martinsville. Here's a look at 1 hour rainfall. And this is playing catch up here. So let me get back here to the bigger view. Sometimes it's not, this is a radar estimate, but you could definitely see where the heaviest rain has been falling over the past hour in this area right about here. And this is the area where the heaviest rain has been occurring. So as I mentioned, if you are south and east of this line, this is where the heavier rain threat is going to be. If you're further north here, I'm not too concerned about flash flooding north, but this line and south, almost bisecting our area in half, is where there's a higher risk of high water issues. Okay, so that's what we're looking at for today. When it comes to the rain. That's a look at the last hour. Again, as of right now, the only warning we have in our somewhat local areas in the Pittsburgh area, Allegheny County, a radar indicated flash flood warning. They've had upwards of an inch of rain or so over the past half hour in portions of Allegheny County, and that could lead to some flash flooding. There are no flash flood warnings, or for that matter, even watches locally in our area, but in the Allegheny County area, the Pittsburgh area, if you're traveling in that area, they are under a flash flood warning at the current time. And Dan Excel saying it is raining in Wellsville. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Dan, always for the great photos. Every time Dan sends a photo, his last name's Excel, and he always excels at sending in great photos. So keep them coming. And they're raining in Wellsville. Yeah, nothing too heavy in Wellsville as it looks there, Dan, at the current time based on the radar. And Wills Creek in Cambridge at 3.5 feet. Thanks to Andrew for that. And expect rain next week. Drew, we get a nice break here throughout the week. We will see some rain. It's summertime, so we get rain. It's kind of interesting. I showed you that the July, we may not think of July as being a wet month, but again, climatologically speaking, July is a wet month. It's one of our wettest months of the year because of convection, thunderstorms. We average over 4.25 inches of rain. So summertime does bring thunderstorms. We don't think of July as rainy times around here, but we average over 4 inches of rain during the month of July, and you're able to squeeze out more water in the atmosphere the warmer it is. And July is also our warmest month of the year. So, but we do get a nice break for those of you just tuning in. Again, key points here. Today's a wet day. The rain is going to be impacting us more so early to mid-afternoon. Later this afternoon, you can see how those rain chances drop off. And in the extended, the rain lets up after today. We do get a nice break from the rain, and it's going to be mainly dry through the weekend as I see it, at least through the 4th of July and Saturday. Maybe questionable. We could see some thunderstorm activity return either later Sunday or Monday, but that's getting long range out in the forecast. So I'm sure there'll be some more rain as we head into next week, favoring maybe somewhere in the early portions of next week. But, typically this time of year, you don't get large chunks of your day where it rains. Today could be more of the exception, where we're getting a good chunk of at least in the middle of the day where it's raining, where later in the day that rain will be letting up. So there's your good news when it comes to the forecast. And Junior says it's raining in Colerain. Yeah, it's raining in a lot of areas right now. And Chet said building an ark in Bel Air. There you go. And Drew doesn't want to feel 103 or 42. Those are the records for the month of July. Okay. So that's the good news. Just hang in there, my friends. I remember last year, we didn't have any rain, and we were in a drought, and a lot of people were complaining about the lack of rain that we had last year, and everyone's yards were brown, and people were wanting the rain. So Mother Nature sometimes has a way of evening things out after a very dry summer and fall last year. This year so far has been off to a much wetter start, even into the weather, into the summer season. I'm trying to say, just looking at the radar, boy, these areas looking. Just looking at some of the radar trends, I'd be more concerned, maybe almost in that line right there. These areas here, this is looking pretty nasty. If you're east of that line, when it comes to heavy rain, that's some very heavy rain to the east of Pittsburgh at the current time. They're under flash flood warnings in that area. I mean, although it is raining in Cambridge and Coleraine, a lot of you guys saying it's raining. This isn't terribly heavy here. It seems like a lot of the deeper convection is occurring to the south of Wheeling. Currently in our local area, New Martinsville is one of those areas. So if you're south of this line, this is where there's going to be more of a threat for some heavier rain. To the north of that line, and I know Wheeling is just right sort of on that line, and just to the north, optimistic that although it is raining, it's not terribly heavy, the types of rains that can lead to flash flooding in that area. So more concerned if you're to the south and east of that line. Okay. So, and let's see. Andrew says it's starting to quit in the Wheeling area, or not Wheeling area. I'm sorry, the Cambridge area. And yeah, if you look at the radar, it is lightening up a little bit in that area right now. Right around Cambridge. So little hole, but there's rain around you. There's a little hole right there in Cambridge. There's more rain off to the west, but just looking at how things are materializing right now, I'm drawing that line, and right about there, that's where there's a threat of heavier rain that could cause flash flooding. I think to the north of that line, you're going to see some rain, but it's not going to be the type of rain that could cause flash flooding. At least that's based on the latest radar trends. And Michael Motorcycle heard some thunder right now in Tyler County. Yeah, we got the thunder in Tyler County. Let's see, pull up the lightning over the last hour, and there we go. So you're hearing the thunder there in Tyler County from storms probably up towards just north of New Martinsville. There's some lightning strikes at the current time, about 3 in that area. Also could be hearing it from some of these strikes here. So lightning sort of around Tyler County right now, but that's a look at lightning over the last hour. And I'll zoom it out for you a little bit. So there's the lightning strikes over the last hour as they are occurring. And typically, again, where you see the lightning, that's also where you have the heavy rain occurring. And right now, the heaviest rain in our area is occurring over towards New Martinsville. This is where the rain is coming down in buckets at the current time. So take it easy in New Martinsville along Route 2. There's our tower camera showing that heavy rain that is currently falling in New Martinsville. And that appears to be where the heaviest rain is coming down right now. Let's zoom in a little bit here, show you that. So there's New Martinsville. And there's some of the heavy rain that is occurring. So this is where the heaviest rain is occurring as we speak at 11:35 this morning. Now, the good news is for New Martinsville, it does look like it lets up briefly a little bit here off to your west, but then there's a more activity coming in. So this is the concern where you have these areas that get repetitive rainfall. As this moves out, there's a little break, but then you get more that seems to be developing off to your west. And you're looking for those deep colors on the radar, the brighter colors indicating where the rain is coming down at a heavier clip. And right now, that appears to be this sort of wavy line that's going through, and that's where the heaviest rain is towards southern Marshall County into Wetzel County at the current time. Elsewhere, we're just seeing generally a lighter rain. A moderate rain is coming down in Wheeling. You can pull up one of our cameras here in the Wheeling area to show you the intensity of the rain in Wheeling. It's wet looking, but if I were to pull up, let's compare that to the camera in New Martinsville, and you could definitely see it's a lot wetter in New Martinsville at the current time. See, we got the Steubenville camera. I may not be able to see too much of that camera. It's a lighter rain, definitely in Steubenville at the current time, and not too concerned in the Steubenville-Weirton area for much flooding or caddis today. I think your rain's going to be generally lighter through the early to mid-afternoon period. It's further to the south where there could be some issues when it comes to high water because of the rain that is coming down. Let's change views up a little bit here. There you go. There's a look at the radar. Let's see if we have any reports of flooding. Well, you know what? Well, let's show you guys this too. So this is the water vapor, and see that blue, all the white and the blue? That's indicating a lot of moisture in the atmosphere. Okay, so I love looking at the water vapor. It really tells us a lot. It tells a good story of what's going on. And if I were to expand this view out, so that we have this front coming through, which is running into all this humidity, and it's squeezing out a lot of moisture. So a lot of that is blossoming on top of us right now, and that's going to be headed east. But I want to draw your attention to this right here. See this brown? That's much drier air, something we haven't seen of late. So see, this will be pivoting on in. So that's behind the front. So right now, out ahead of the front, it's squeezing out all this moisture. But see, the water vapor really tells a good story, how it's much drier here in the a good chunk of the atmosphere. And that's heading in our direction. So once we get through this rain here early to mid-afternoon, things will start to improve. And that's why I really think the next several days are going to start looking a lot better. So hang in there. Let's get through today. First day of July, off to a wet start where June sort of left us, right? But we will see improvements after today with our weather. So just be patient and hang in there. I always like to stress patience when it comes to weather. Let's take a look at storm reports. When it comes to flooding, doesn't look like we have any here yet. There's some back here across the Columbus area. Oh, you know what? These are storm reports. I want to look at the flooding reports. Let's see where we got the flooding at here. Thinking and talking at the same time. Here's our flood reports. So yeah, we do have some reports of flooding coming in from the Pittsburgh area. So let's take a look at these. Roslyn Farms flooding on the lower portion of Campbell's Run Road at 11 a.m. this morning. So there's already some reports coming out of the Pittsburgh area flooding. We have, I never heard of that. Oklahoma on the east side of Pittsburgh. Never heard of that one. And then we have, move over here. And we got some heavy rain reports coming out of near Parkersburg. Rain amount, 15-minute time frame, an inch of rain. So that's some heavy rain. 0.8 or, well, inch. I don't know. There's two different amounts on there. I'm not sure which is right, but that's a lot of rain in a 15. Either one, 0.8 of an inch or an inch is a lot of rain in a 15-minute time frame. And also, there were some reports of flash flooding. It looks like in just south of Columbus this morning. This is maybe that was last night, actually, 6:25. Okay. So for those of you just tuning in, we got the rain that is with us here through the early to mid-afternoon time frame. And then that rain will drop off later this afternoon. So if you're thinking doing some grilling after work today, I do think a lot of that rain will be moving out, and we catch a break there later on today. And then after today, threat of rain drops off. Much nicer forecast after today. So just let's get through today. And there we go. Charlotte is glad that things are improving. Yes, after today. Yeah, and Austin says downpour, crazy winds there in Wetzel County. Yeah, and Becky's saying no more for the Wheeling area. Agree, totally. You're seeing rain, nothing too heavy in the Wheeling area. Tuscarawas County, again, this is for basically the entire area here. After today, we'll be drying out. In fact, later on today in Tuscarawas County, Cal, you'll be seeing the rain drop off. So early to mid-afternoon is the wettest part of today. After that, things will improve, and it really improves after today from a weather standpoint. Okay. Let's see. So let's check out one more. Okay, I want to show you. Let's get into Wetzel County again just to make sure, double check on some things. I got to get ready for News 9 midday, unfortunately, too, which is coming up here. Ooh, about 20 minutes. I didn't realize I've been on here that long. Sometimes, yeah, I started talking about weather. I forget how long I've been in here. Okay, so still, the areas of concern, and those of you who were talking about Wetzel County, wind and heavy rain, yeah, it looks pretty nasty here. New Martinsville on east. This is where it's coming down at a pretty good clip in these areas, even southern Marshall County, maybe up to Cameron, yeah. Cameron area southward into Wetzel County. Heavy rain in these areas. And these are the areas, I think, locally. And someone was asking about flooding. As far as I know, no flooding in Monroe County. But, you're pretty close to Monroe County in these areas. This area right here, see how I have that line drawn? This is where there's going to be the threat for some flash flooding in points east. If you're further north of this line, which does include the Wheeling area, there is going to be some rain, but I don't see that very heavy rain materializing like we are seeing in these areas out ahead of that line for these locations further north. So that is some good news. The flash flood warning that you see is this area here in Allegheny County and Pittsburgh, where there is some flooding going on at the current time. Okay, that's a messy look of the radar. I love drawing stuff, but it gets out of hand, makes it messy. Although it's a messy weather picture. Okay, rain today into the afternoon. Later this afternoon, it lets up, and then we dry out next several days, and looking good for your 4th of July. So after today, the weather improves. Much more on the weather forecast, plus look at the radar. I'll bring you any updates if there are any flood warnings or anything issued or anything changing coming your way on News 9 midday in less than 20 minutes. So stay safe out there. Stay safe in the rain, even if it's a light rain in your area this afternoon. And better times are coming, my friends. And let's see. Terry says that Route 67, Castleman's in Brooke County is flooding. Okay, I'll pass that along. I'm a little surprised by that because it just looks like the amount of rain, Terry, doesn't look all that heavy in Brooke County, but I'll pass that along to the Weather Service and see what they say. But just based on what I'm seeing here in Brooke County, it doesn't look terribly heavy in the Brooke County area when it comes to rain right now. Okay, stay safe, everyone. I'll see you on News 9 midday in about 15 minutes. Have a great Tuesday and first day of July.